Hi there, Tracy Nutton here with a video tutorial of the lovely card in front of you. It's a thank you card, and today I'm going to be using some Sweet Poppy stencil products. I will begin with the brick wall backplate stencil, and I will be taking the thanks sentiment from the Beautiful Day sentiment stamp set. The lovely bee comes from the foxglove stamp set, and the main focal flower you can see there is the crocus. To colour, I will be using a range of Polychromos pencils. You can use any colour you like, but today I'm going to make my crocuses purple. So I've got a couple of each colour, yellow for the bee and orange just for the centre stamens, just to make them stand out a little bit. I'm going to be using a micron pen today. I've got a number 3 and a little bit of a shimmer using the Wink of Stella, just to give my bee a little bit of a shimmer wing. I'll be stamping here with the Versifying Clair, and the background is created using Lost Shadow Oxide. Today I'm going to be using Crafter's Companion card, measuring 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres, or about 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. When using a stencil, metal stencil, you must, well, I think it's a must anyway, must use your magnetic sheet. So I'm just going to place my stencil over this side of my paper. The colour that I'm creating today will just be on this side, so therefore I will place it on my work just slightly over to the left hand side. So I'm just going to secure it with some low tack tape, also from Sweet Poppy Stencils, being careful not to go onto the paper. You hardly need any colour at all. There may even be enough colour on here to not have to ink up. So the easiest way to do this is to make sure that you have a piece of kitchen towel to take off the excess. It's easier to build up the colour as opposed to trying to, once you put it on, you can't really take it off. So I load up my brush and then I use this paper to more or less take it all off, and then I'm using circular motion. Kind of want to make an oval shape on this side, so nice and light, hardly any pressure at all. Nice little circular motion, building up that colour. Again, this is probably the part that will take the longest, and it will look like there's not an awful lot happening, but once the piece of paper is removed, hopefully you shall see some magic. I'm making some cards for some thank you cards for some colleagues at work, so I thought, you know what, I'll make a video today to share with some of you lovely people, you lovely crafters. And this is quite a quick technique, which is really nice when you're trying to make lots of cards for people, especially when you're trying to say thank you, or you know, just trying to do some batch making cards. That's what I was trying to say. So I can see this is slightly beginning to build up here, so I just need to focus more on this part down here. I'm not pushing hard at all, and you can increase the amount of pressure that you're putting on depending on where you need to apply the colour. I don't want to go over here at all because that's where my sentiment is going. I just want a little bit darker, but again not too dark, because I'm going to stamp on this, and the focus on the colour on the stamp needs to come from the pencils as opposed to being interrupted by what I'm doing with the background. So I think this is probably done. Just going to make sure that I've got the right shape. So it's kind of an oval shape I'm looking for, not going to the top, not coming to the bottom. So to you, you might not be able to see anything, but once I remove this, with any luck, you should be able to see that we should have a very delicate background, as you can see. So now on to the next part. So for this part, we're going to be stamping. I always use my stamp press, it is entirely up to you, but for me, sometimes things don't work out how you hope, so I think the easiest way for me is just to use a stamp press. So put my work in here, make sure it's in shot. There we go. So I begin by working out where I'd like to put my crocus. So I kind of want to put it towards the bottom end, and then I'm thinking the thank you can go further up. Want to make sure that this stem here is perfectly straight, and then down, give it a push, and then back up. Don't worry about that. Okay, now I can secure my card where I would like it. There we go. So I know where my stamp is now, so I can make sure that I've got enough magnets so that it doesn't move around. Then I'm going to gently stamp up with the VersaFine Clair. So if I just move this over, then you can see what I'm doing. So gently with the ink pad, light taps. It's a very detailed stamp. You don't want to flood it with lots and lots of ink. So a couple of light layers is much better than doing one layer that will flood and become a bit smudged. I've got this lovely tool that I purchased. It just helps me out when my hands don't seem to do things that I'd like them to do. I'm quite happy with that, but I will just go over once more just to make sure that it's quite vibrant. Push it a wiggle. Okay, then I'll take this off, and the next part is to stamp my sentiment. So just would like the word thanks, so I'm just going to take that from there, and then I'm thinking about where I'd like to put that. Always use my piece of acetate over the top so that I can work out where I'd like it. Looks good. So this part, as you can see, is quite straightforward and quite quick, which is really nice. Sometimes when you are batch making or you're making lots of cards, you could kind of want to make sure that you're not spending too long. You want them to look good, but you don't want them to take forever, knowing full well that you have lots and lots to make. So again, let this sink into let the ink sink into the card. Give it a wiggle around. I like to do all my stamping first with these cards. That way then I can just get on with the colouring after. So I've got a little bit of a gap down there. Nice gentle taps. Let that sit on there. Give it another wiggle around. And in nature things tend to come in odd numbers. And when I looked at this earlier, I thought, oh, I really like this card, but it's just lacking something. It just needs a little bit of something extra. And on the foxglove stamp set, there was a lovely bee, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going for it. So I'm just going to place or stamp a bee just down here. And it seemed to me to be the perfect size, which was also an added bonus. Put my stamp press out of the way. Okay, straighten my board up. So this is a lovely bee, very delicately drawn, beautifully drawn, and created, and just, it looks quite chunky, but when you stamp it on, it's absolutely beautiful. So I want him kind of an angle, heading towards the flower. Put him down, don't move, just a gentle wriggle, nice and steady, and then straight up. Look how delicate that looks, beautiful. So when I do a card like this, I just like to heat set the ink before I start colouring. I'm just going to go in and set the ink. If it starts bending, don't worry, quick flip over and a heat blast and it's straight again, so that's perfect. So now for the interesting part. All I need to add now is some colour on here, and then we are done. So it literally is that simple. So I would start with, and I know for some people You are amazing at colouring. I'm not going to suggest for a second that I'm amazing at colouring, but I will give it my best. So for me, I always start with a really lovely faint colour. So for today, I'm going to use the purple or lilac. And this just tells me, gives me a guide of where my colour is. And then again, it's a bit like the inking. You can always build up colour, but it's much more difficult to take it away. So nice and steady, finding all the areas that I would like to be purple or lilac. Okay. So now I've got my darker colour, and if you're not confident in colouring, you can build up layer upon layer. I know that the harder you press, the darker the colour, the lighter the colour. So for me, I can just go straight in here, push quite hard, and then reduce the amount of pressure as I work my way up the petals. Wiggle it back down, and you're just literally blending it. That's all you're doing, taking your time to blend it. Nice and dark at the bottom, and then working your way gradually lighter towards the top. The next one, same process. Okay, nice and dark, working it up. It's quite calming and therapeutic, so it's nice. And then what I do is I'll do all of this, but then I will have another look and see what it needs. Does it need any more colour anywhere else? Does it need to be darker? Does it need to be, does it need a hint of a different shade? But I always do that once I get the basic colour on. So colouring this around for you. I know a lot of people speed these parts of the videos up, but for those of us that aren't really confident colourers, it's actually quite nice to see how different people do different techniques. And I think sometimes when it's sped up, I can't keep up. So just thought it doesn't take long anyway to colour this. It's quite a small stamp. It's got detail in it, but lucky enough it's got lovely dark areas where it guides you where the shading needs to be. So it takes the panic out of where the dark and light parts should be. So again, almost there. Okay, now have a quick look. So I like this. Let's go in here. Just work this up. This is lovely here. Got a line here that I don't really like, so let's go in. There we go. Okay, work some colour up here. Almost there. Just take this to the top of the petals. Right, now moving on to the orange for the stamens. I'm just going to do those one colour. I just want them really quite dark just to pop it and make it stand out. Then I've got a couple of greens. Oh, there's another one there, a little hiding. So at the minute, if you look at this lovely flower, it is not grounded, it is just kind of floating in midair. So I tend to find a way to make sure it looks grounded. So I'm just going to do my leaves. Working my way down. Again, these are quite delicate and quite small, so less stress on whether you can colour it or not. This is a really lovely stamp for those that are not confident but just like the idea of adding a little bit of colour and building up your confidence to be able to colour. So again, dark up here, pull it down. Looking for the dark parts, dark over here, working our way down. Again, dark. Adding a little bit of contrast colour here. There we go. So this part here, what I tend to do is I take a green pencil, and the soil that it was sitting in, or the grass area that it's sitting in, will always come behind. So what I tend to do is just create the illusion, and I work kind of in a zigzaggy, so working my way forward and creating the illusion that this is actually on the ground and it has some fixture to it. So again, just go over with a different colour green, because grass isn't one colour. I know some people do these with the grey, that's fine. I would say I tend to keep my pencils quite sharp. This is a brilliant Faber-Castell pencil sharpener. It's really, really good. Again, just look, see the difference that's made just by sharpening it. Just gives me a sharper colour again. Just coming across, zigzag down, give the illusion that we've got some depth to this. Wriggle it out. Okay, add some grass. The sharper the pencil, the better they look. And then this is where I use my Micron pen. So if I just went in with black lines, it would not look realistic. If you look at this stamp, the shading on this stamp has been created using dots. So I will also use dots, nice and gently, across to make this look grounded. Take it nice and steady, there isn't a rush. You want it to look quite natural. You can take them out where there isn't any green. Be careful not to flick them, otherwise it won't look like it's grounded. Okay, and then exactly where it's touching the floor, get it a little bit darker. It's like gravel. There we go. And then just take the eye out a little bit. There we go. And a couple of odd ones in front to make it look a bit more organic. So that's the colouring done. I'm just going to add some yellow here for my bee. See, again, nice quick card. Got some glitter, just a shimmer. Put that on the bee's wings, and now it's ready to mount up. So as always, you know me, I always have my layers already cut and all ready to go. Just need to put some, I'm going to put glue on this one. Just wiggle my glue around. This will give me some wiggle room, make sure it's straight. Again, use the quick drying glue from Sweet Poppy Stencils. It's absolutely brilliant. Pop this down on here, wiggle it around, make sure it is straight. I always like to layer up black and white. Everybody that knows me knows that's how I always layer up my cards, but again, you can use any colour that you like. Tried to do a different video today, trying to give you some quick cards, simple techniques that you can try out. What I also did today was I've done this same technique using different stencils from my stash and different stamps, and I will show you those to you in a second. So again, matte and layer this onto another layer. Just makes it pop. Sometimes the matter and layering can be just as important as the actual technique and the card itself, and that can be the difference of making it stand out, or you know, making it look a little bit more exciting. Pull swipe, same technique that I used in my last video. Pull swipe, Okay, and then we are ready to pop this onto our card. Just going to trim my card base. They always come with these dog ends. I don't know why. Let's just get rid of that horrible dog end. Make it nice and square. The opening is there. I'm going to use the tape. Okay, remove my tape in opposite corners like I always do. I never show you cutting layers because I don't want to be able to tell you how to cut and mat and layer your work. So it's up to you. So again, swipe. There you go. Push it along. So I'm going to move all of these little bits out of the way. So as you can see, this is my finished card. Once you get the idea of how to do this lovely shading, creating the illusion 3 just brings the eye out using the background over here, you can look at different stamps and stencils in your stash. So this one was used using the Totally Triangles backplate, which is actually in the sale, so you might have it or you might think I like that, but again, used with the Sweet Pea stamp. And then I also did this one using the lovely lavender, and this one is the Floral Trellis backplate. So I'm hoping that these have inspired you to have a go at this technique and then have a look and see what's in your stash and give it a go yourself. So I've hoped you enjoyed this video today. Thank you for popping by and having a watch, and I look forward to the next one. Take care. Bye for now.